Tad's Delight by Tad Dameron. It's on the Miles Davis Round Midnight album, I believe, so a lot of you will probably recognize the song. I listened to another version, though. I did a video on this, kind of a half-assed video that I'm famous for. And then I listened to Sonny Clark, I believe it was, and he did it in a different key, but he had a nice reharmonization on it, so I thought I'd share that with you and bring a little something to the song besides my usual BS. All right, so start with a really demented-sounding B chord. We got the B structure there, and then we've got the third again, 13, and the flat 9. Yeah, and that gives you a pretty dissonant chord there. But it resolves pretty quickly to B flat minor, and that's how Sonny Clark did it. But you could use B flat 7th there, of course. And then he harmonizes the C as a minor, goes up to D flat major, back to C, and then let's do the B flat minor, and the melody note would make it a minor flat 5, or half diminished. Same thing, minor 7th flat 5 and a half diminished chord. It's the, two terms for the same thing. And then get right to that E flat, and then we've got this. And the melody he also slightly changed, like that instead of. So anyway. Here we could use just a nice closed voicing, and then use a rootless voicing here. I mean, you could go down all the way down in there, I guess. That's a nice little melody thing there too. So that's a cool line there. That's the signature line, really, of the song, other than maybe the first line. So this is your typical 2 chord with a 9 and a sharp 11 and a 13. All right, it's like a triad, a whole step above, the root of the chord. It's not really what you would call an altered dominant, even though it's got a sharp 11 in it. An altered dominant has to have altered extensions, like it can have the flat 9, the sharp 9, the sharp 11, flat 13, just those, okay? Anything else, it's not a true altered dominant, all right? I mean, you can call it that, but in my universe, it's got to be that. All right, so anyway, we've got a semi-altered dominant, and the scale that's appropriate here is the Lydian. There's your Lydian note. Dominant. All right, now this is called by so many different names. I call it the Lydian dominant, but it starts off with these whole steps, and then it's got a little bit of what looks like the diminished scale. Like that, see? You could use the diminished too. Either scale really is going to work with this rootless voicing here. And then kind of like the same thing on E flat, because there's the sharp 11th, and then a quick change here. All right, C minor and F or F or F. And it goes by so quickly you could maybe skip the C minor. Maybe. Then we get to the last line here. To me, it's just easier than trying to reach this big chord there. Guess we could put a root that way if you wanted to, but. There's times when rootless voicings work just fine and you don't miss the root, but other times they don't. Like, if you're hitting, an important new landmark of the song or something, if it switches into a different key or something, you got to sometimes put the root in. I guess the D flat would go a little early there. Not really sure. I mean, you could go and then hit the D flat on beat 3, but it's going to sound better to hit it on the and of 2. Like that. And then... Now here, this is interesting. These last two measures here is really, in its simplest form, it's just a 2-5-1. B flat, E flat to A flat. Or you could even say, in a slightly more complicated form, it's a B flat and then a B flat minor and E flat, A flat. And so the F minor is just really like a suspension. See, there's F minor. It's a suspension of the B flat 7th. And then you could also say the same thing about the B flat minor. It's a suspension of the E flat 7th. So, I mean, you could do this really on any 2-5-1. I think I did it in Round Midnight. Hey, the song Round Midnight, you know what it goes. Barry Harris technique there. But anyway, here we are on the last line. Ah, crap. And you could improvise on that. Talk just a little bit about improvisation. I'm going to talk a little bit about the diminished scale. So you're going through, this is what I call the hierarchy of diminished scales. If you're going through the cycle of fifths and you're doing all dominant chords, like suppose you start with F and then B flat and then E flat, all right? So the F gets this one, and then the B flat gets this one, and then the E flat gets this one. All right, there's only 3 diminished scales. So, and if you're going around the cycle of fifths, they're going to come in a certain order. First one, well, it depends on what key you're in, but in this key, you know, on the, what is this, the 6th chord. That's the first one there. And then this one is like, and then the next one would be like that. So, I used all 3 of them right there on the F, B flat, and E flat chords. Now this song is in A flat, and you want to always put a little bit of the blues into your song. So you want to go over 2 blues scales for sure: the A flat blues scale and the F blues scale. Right, the F blues scale, like that, but thinking of it more like an A flat. Right, so it's like this little walk up from A flat, and then the 5th and the 6th. And then you can mix these 2 together. So you got that little tetrachord, that means a 4-note part of a scale, I think is what it means. And then that's part of the F scale. A flat blues, F blues. See, I used them both. That and that. And there's another little blues scale. All right, a D flat blues scale, because I went from the 1 chord of D flat to the 4 chord of G flat. We're not in that key, but if you're thinking that way, you know, this might happen. And then this I talked about before, the Lydian dominant scale. Put a C triad in there, mess around with it. I think that was the wrong scale. That's the Lydian dominant on E flat. Another thing I was thinking about too, if you're going through these diminished scales, is that you can use the triads that are in there, like on F seventh. So there's, in each diminished scale, there are 4 triads. So in F, there's A flat and F are 2 of the triads. All right, and then, because we're going through the cycle of fifths, we're just going down chromatically. That's also a cycle of fifths. So there's a G triad and a E triad, and then I'll go down a half step like that and end up on A flat. Okay, just some improvisation ideas for you all. And Tad's Delight, it's such a great song. And I apologize for, sometimes putting up these videos that seem a little bit half-baked. I think it's because I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and I'm pretty close. And I just keep thinking, I got to keep putting up more and more videos. And but, I watched a video the other day that was over an hour long, and the guy said it took him 8 months and tons of money to produce. And it was really a good video, and it had tons of views, and he hadn't put up anything for like 8 months. So I'm just thinking I'm going to take a little more time with these videos and try to do a little bit better production on them and not worry about the numbers so much. But anyway, thank you all for subscribing and all the support, too, that I get on PayPal and Patreon. I really appreciate it, and talk to you again very, very soon. Thanks.